Hello beautiful, welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my September standouts as well as kind of an October TBR-ish, or at least what I've done so far. And if you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Natasha. I do videos on books, beauty, bullet journaling, and basically anything else I can think of. It's been several weeks since I posted a video. I've had a lot of changes and updates in my life, which have been good things, so maybe I'll update you on those pretty soon. But let's just go ahead and, well, first, if you're new, please subscribe, click like, and all of that stuff, the little bell and those things. But now let's get into the books. All right, so the first book I want to talk about, so I'm gonna have, I keep saying so, I apologize. It's just what I do. It's annoying. The books, all the books that I read in September will be in the description box below. And then as well as if I recommended or think it was garbage or whatever, I'm just gonna do it that way because there were, I think, 8 books that I completed. And with the 8 books I completed, I did 3,305 pages. 8 books were completed. 2 of those were audiobooks. So here's some books that stand out to me. The first one was a reread for me. Helps me with my, I had a goal of doing 4 rereads. This is the 3rd one, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is the 10th anniversary edition covers, and I read it in 7 hours. And I loved it. And this time, because it was for book club, I decided, since everybody's like read the books and watched the movies, that I would actually take some notes of the differences between the movies and the books. And that really was interesting to me. Some of the things that I think could have been explained better in the movies, but I think the movies did a great job, period. But some of the missing characters and some of the things that aren't explained. So I highly recommend that, obviously. The next one I wanted to talk about is Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I don't know what my nose is doing, sorry. This one is awesome. I thought it was going to be more of a mystery type thing, whodunit, but it's not. It's kind of like a horror thriller, figure stuff out, kind of like suspenseful kind of thing. And it has a lot of multimedia stuff in it. So throughout the book, through the multimedia, and like, it's not one where I say go check out the multimedia first. No, let the multimedia come to you as you're flipping the pages, because it is a part of the book. And she used the same like actors to play, or models to play the same character that they're talking about. So there's like newspaper clippings, things they've looked in books, stuff from the internet, articles, and all kinds of weird stuff in here. But incredibly, not for the faint of heart, but incredibly well done. Like, this was a masterpiece. The writing in it is phenomenal, and I cannot recommend it enough if this is your kind of thing. If you're not sure, check out my Goodreads. I have a little bit of a review on it. I really did enjoy it, but once again, this is not my normal, typical book to read, so I didn't rate it. But I did really enjoy it, and I really thought it was just like, my husband actually read it right after I did, because he saw my face as I was reading it, and like, he read the whole thing very quickly as well. Like, he was taking it to work and reading it at lunch, and that's not normally what he does. This is a good book, and I do recommend it. Even if this isn't your thing, step out your box for a minute for that one. It was very good. Another one to help me with my goal of reading the Harry Potter series this year. I did Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is an 870-page book. This has been my least favorite of the series so far. I think it was just because there's so much stuff crammed in it, plus Professor Umbridge or whatever. I really didn't like her, so it really made me not enjoy it because I just couldn't stand her. But anyway, a lot of crap going on in this one, and yeah, so this is, I mean, it's not a bad book. I mean, obviously it's Harry Potter, but just through them, this has been my least favorite because I felt like it would never end, and there was just so much in it. But anyway, there's that one. And I did an audiobook for Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson. The beginning of the book was better than the end, and I do believe I liked Furiously Happy better than this one, but this was her first book. But I laughed so hard, and it was easy because I'd started taking classes, like live classes at the local community college, and to kind of just took my mind off all the things that I needed to do there when I get there, and parking and all of that stuff. When I am new to something, I know it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. It's gonna work out. But sometimes I can get a little nervous or anxious or something, and just listening to the audiobooks to and from school and getting parking passes, and that was an ordeal, by the way. It really like helped keep me calm and kept my mind off of it so that I could just go in and do what I needed to do. But very funny, and you understand, because if you do Furiously Happy first, she talks about her dad and her crazy dad, and you kind of like, oh, ha ha ha, crazy dad. No, if you read this book, you know crazy dad, what she's talking about. So, yeah, but hilarious. She does have the mouth of a sailor, but you just kind of have to let that go. And it was funny because I did Furiously Happy as a book, and Let's Pretend This Never Happened, obviously an audiobook, and I did not expect her voice to be as high-pitched and spritey as it was, but it was just a joy to listen to. Yes. So I do recommend those books. Okay. The last book I think I'm going to talk about for September. I have so many thoughts and feelings about this. So we're just gonna spend a few minutes, couple minutes talking about this. All right, Modern Fairy Tales by Holly Black. This is a bind up of the entire trilogy of the Modern Fairy Tales. So in it you have, let's see, it's Tithe and, what can I think of the other one? Hang on. Tithe, Valiant, Ironside, and there's a short story in here, which is why it's in a bind-up again, The Lament of Loony Loo. So let's talk about them kind of individually. First of all, this is not for young teenagers. I would not hand this over to anyone under probably 17, and that might be pushing it, just because you just never know what's going down with what's in people's minds. But here's the thing. The first one was for me. There were certain things about it I felt like, yeah, it could have been addressed like differently. I don't know. I didn't like it as much. The second one really bothered me because so a girl runs away, she meets up with some strangers and lives with them for a bit in the subway tunnels in New York City. And there is blatant drug use, like you learn how to do drugs. Like, they do drugs. It is blatant depictions and descriptions of doing drugs, how to do drugs, different ways to do the same drug. And then when she decides that she doesn't need to do drugs anymore, she just quits cold turkey. And even when she has that feeling, she doesn't need to do the drugs. Where someone else had to be put in the hospital because they were dying from the withdrawals. So I think that was a very poor depiction of drug abuse, because most people can't just do drugs all the time and get addicted and then just quit for fun, So that was a little unrealistic. The other thing was, there was a bit of insta-love with a troll. A green underbite with upside down fangs, green troll. Insta-love kinda with a troll. No, she's not even been introduced to this world before, ever. And then insta-love with a troll. And I mean, I guess it's not love at first sight, but it was pretty quick. And furthermore, there's a rape scene where she wakes up and realizes she's about to be raped. She just pretends he's someone else and just lets him go. What? No. And then the other thing is, the troll teaches her how to wield a sword. She's a lacrosse player before she runs away. He teaches her how to hold her sword because she already knows a little bit of the basics because of her lacrosse playing. And in 2 months, she becomes an expert woman who beats someone who's hundreds and maybe thousands of years old with a sword. No. Then the third book I like a little bit better. It has some of the characters from both, but here's the thing. When Holly Black is in her fae world with her fae, it's phenomenal. When Holly Black goes to the real world and brings the fae there, it's so dark. It is so dark and twisted. And to me, this was some of the most dark and twisted stuff. The third book, we stayed mostly in fairy. It was some of the people that are, you know, in the other books are in fairy dealing with things. So there's humans there. And it just makes more sense for some reason. And it's not as weird, even though it's weird. That's just my opinion. Whatever. The highlight of this book was The Lament of Ludi Lou. We meet Ludi Lou in the very first book. She is a little sprite, I believe. So she's living in our world, and so she learns how to make dresses for herself out of dolls' clothes or Barbie doll clothes and things like that. But you see her kind of visiting that world where we get in The Cruel Prince, where she's going to the high court, and then it kind of sheds some light on why the king, I don't want to say too much, but kind of backs the king of this particular is it the Unseelie court, why he kind of like backs the people in The Cruel Prince. It makes it make a little bit more sense as to why he does that. So that I really enjoyed, but yeah, it was a lot. Okay, so that's that. Like I said, the rest of the books will be linked down below, or not linked, but mentioned down below. So let's talk about what we've done in October so far. So far in October, I have finished Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I did the audiobook. I still think that The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is my favorite book by her, but this book was very good, and I highly, highly recommend the audiobook. The audiobook is the way to go because there is a different voice actor for every single character, and since it's told in interviews, you're literally hearing them like you're hearing a documentary. It's so well done, and some of the voice actors are actually well-known actors, like Judy Greer and Jennifer Beal, Benjamin Bratt. So you'll recognize voices, and so I really enjoyed that. It was really great. And the other one, I did The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. I needed a palate cleanse from all of the fantasy, and this is just a great slice of life kind of thing. I enjoyed it. At first I was like kind of like, I don't know how this is gonna go, but the more we got into it, the more I really enjoyed it. And you really root for her and her family that she meets. But it's a really cute book, and I saw a lot of myself kind of in some of these things, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I do recommend it, especially if you need a palate cleanse. It's awesome. Quick mention here, I'm still listening to it, I'm almost done. I bought the book for Embrace Your Weird by Felicia Day, and I've really enjoyed it. I like to do her audiobooks because she does read them herself, and so you get to hear what's going on. There's a lot of a lot of like worksheets and things in here, and when you do the audiobook, you have access through Audible, but you have to go on your computer to Audible to get the downloads for the PDF, so you can get all of this even with the audiobook. But I wanted to get a copy of it, to support Felicia Day because she's one of my favorite people, but also because there's lots of like journaling prompts and things in here to help you find, you know, certain spots in your creativity. So I do recommend that one. That's a good one. The book I'm currently reading and will probably finish tonight or the next couple days is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. So far, this has been one of my favorite. I love the Goblet of Fire and I have really enjoyed this one because we're learning things. You're just kind of getting background and figuring things out, and that's the kind of stuff I like. So I really enjoyed this one so far. I know something bad's gonna happen, but I'm just hanging in there and taking it one page at a time. But yeah, like I said, this one's been one of my favorites and I really enjoy it. All right, so let's talk a little bit of TBR. I'm gonna grab a couple more books off the shelf and see what I can get back into for the month of October. Okay, so I've got some of the books that I want to do for the rest of October. We'll see if it happens. I don't know. Or if I change my mind, whatever. Okay, so the first book is going to be Fruit of the Drunken Tree by Ingrid Rojas Contreras. And this is for our book club book of the month, for the Girls Not Out book club. And this, I hesitate to use the word historical fiction, but it's from the 90s, it takes place in the 90s. And it's following, okay, so it says here, a mesmerizing debut set in Colombia at the height of Pablo Escobar's violent reign, about a sheltered young girl and a teenage maid who forge an unlikely friendship that threatens to undo them both. So that's what we got for October for our book club. We've done so much fantasy and stuff like that this year, so I wanted to kind of break it up and do something a little different than we have done this year, and then the next month will be a mystery, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. All right, also on my shelves, I had a little change up, so I added this because my husband was like, you have to do the butchering art this month. This is by Lindsay Fitzharris, and this is Joseph Lister's quest to transform the grisly world of Victorian medicine. So it's basically about the kind of the evolution of how surgery is done from the Victorian era to now, on just how it's still pretty barbaric when you think about what surgery actually is, but when you go from what they used to do to now, how much different it is. So I heard good things about this, so I am looking forward to that, and I don't think this will be I don't think it'll take me too long, yeah, because there's a lot of like notes and stuff because it's a historical thing and all that. So it's like it's like 239 pages or something like that. So I think I'll really enjoy that. The next one is How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. This is a guy who doesn't age and kind of lives his life basically over and over without, I mean, he's not dying, but he has to like move and reinvent himself over and over again because he doesn't age, and that could be suspicious. The only rule he has is not to fall in love because that can make it difficult to move on, but it looks like that might be what's happening, Captain. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to this. I love Matt Haig anyway, and I think this will be right up my alley. Next we have Alice by Christina Henry. This is also on one of my books that I must read this year list. It's also one of the books I believe that Barry picked out for me, my dog, when I did the pups pick my books for TBR video. I'll link that down below. But this is not really a retelling of Alice, but inspired by Alice, and it's takes place, I think, in a psychiatric ward, and so you don't really know exactly what's going on. There is a little thing in here because my husband got to that part and then was like, I don't think I can handle this book right now, so that means I'm gonna love it. Lastly, I'd like to bring up this beast of a book, and it's heavy, and that is my favorite thing is monsters. I've had this on my wish list forever, and then I got it for Christmas, and it is a graphic novel, but it is so beautifully done. It's just like pencil artwork or pen artwork, and it's just gorgeous, and I love it. And I am really looking forward to this. It's a mystery about like a murder happens, and yeah, it's a book one. So apparently there's going to be more coming out. but I saved it until October. It's October. I need to read it. And I have, yeah, I've kind of started it a while ago, just kind of getting in the ideas of it. But now it's time to really get in there and boogie with it. So I'll let you guys know how this goes. All right, that is my TBR and my standouts for September. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this long. I hope this video is not a million years long. I have noticed the most thumbnails lately of people being like this. So anyway, that's kind of like stuck with me now. Like every time I do anything, I'm like, But anyway, moving on. I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys again for watching and see you soon. Have a great day, gorgeous.